Welcome to another one-up audio guided tour. This time we're going to go through puzzle 809. Puzzle 809 is one of the harder puzzles. Beyond being 8 by 8, it requires a little bit of logic to see you through, and many people are confounded by the note-taking that is involved because there shouldn't be any. And if you take notes, it makes this all much harder. And I do a segment-based solve. I don't just go around and jot down the things I know. I wait until I get to the segment that needs them, and then I write them down. And so I start with an assessment. I divide the puzzle into quarters and see where the most active areas are. But these are all about the same. There's a big old cluster of numbers in the center. There's 4 7s and 4 8s in the puzzle. We know this by counting the number of open rows. And then we've seen that there's no 1 7 rows or columns. But that gives us 16 squares and only 8 digits, so that doesn't really help us very much. Can't narrow them down yet, even though we have 2 7s. But the 4s are interesting. It's only 3 4s, but they work with each other well. They coordinate. And I just want to see where they go. That's how I see this. And we're going to start at column 1 at the bottom. And we see that we can't have a 4 anywhere but in row 7. And working over, because that's not going to change anything up there. We see this column 3 can only have a 4 here. And we keep on going. The next column has 3 spaces for 4s, so we're not going to do anything with that. Next column has a 4. Next column has a 4. This column here, no 4, no 4, no 4, no 4. There's another 4. And it's tempting to look at this column, but we know that there's nothing that's going to do anything here. But let's look at this row instead. It can't have a 4. This can't be 4 because it's limited to 3. There's another 4. And now we have all the 4s except for one here or here, and one here or here. And those work like a diagonal. There'll be one set or the other. And the way to resolve those is to attack the segment that contains 2 of the digits, like this one, column 1, or row 1, or over here. This is column 4. Column 4 looks like we have some things that can resolve. This one here, C4. C4 over here is a 5-link segment. When you come to an intersection in one-up, the absolute limit of a square is the shorter segment that it's in. So 5 is its limit, and it can't see 5 or 4 or 3 or 2. So this is a 1. And we were doing that to see what effect it had. Well, this can't be a 1, a 2, or 3, and so now we have our 4. And from the diagonal thing, we know this is a 4. But we are working on column 4. Let's finish it. That's not a 6, 7, 8. That can be a 6, 7, 8. This can be a 6, 7, 8. But this one down here, row 8, can only be a 6, leaving us a 7 and an 8. Maybe now we can do our big 7s and 8s. It could be. Let's look at the next column because they're twins. This can't be a 7 or 7 or 7. Can't be a 7 there. And well, there we go. And we know over here that it's only 8 or 7, so we've got those. So that's all 4 7s. So let's look at row 3 for a second. And it stands out to me, but you might not see it. This can only be 1, 2, 3. This can only be 1, 2, 3. This can only be 1, 2, 3. So those are pigeonholed. 1, 2, 3, 3 squares, 3 pigeons. That leaves a 6, 8 pair. But column 8 can't have an 8. So we know the 6 goes there, and the 8 goes there. And that is our second 8. Should be able to do that. What about this column? Where does this 8 go now? Well, it goes here. There's only one left. That's 3 8s. That means our last 8 is here. We've done that. Let's check 6s in this row. No 6. Could be a 6. Can't be and can't be. There's our 6. So we got 6, 7, 8. This one needs a 6, doesn't it? And it has to be there. I like to turn when we get to an end of a row segment or column segment to see what I've learned. This could be a 1, 2, 3. This could be a 1, 2, 3. Our other digit is a 5. That really doesn't help us there. Moving down here, many places for a 5. Oh, we don't have a 6 here yet. Well, it's not there or there, so this is our 6. Turning, and that's enough to limit our 5s. And this here is the key position, the one everyone gets stuck on. If you had been taking notes along the way, you would have a lot of 1s, 2s, and 3s, mainly because you got a lot of 1, 2, 3 columns and rows. They're everywhere. Most of the triplets from the 1, 2, 4, 5 split after the 4s came in have become 1, 2, 3 triplets. Most of them. Some haven't. This one is your only 1, 3, 5. And over here, earlier, we noticed this 1, 2, 5. And there's another 1, 2, 5 here. And it's vertical 1, 2, 5 here. There's a few quads left. They're all 1, 2, 3, 5s. Also results of those 4s. Screen of death. This is the position fully notated if you use Sudoku notes. And you'll see that things like the 1, 2, 5 triples and the are obscured. The 1, 3, 5 is as well. And you don't really know where to look for contradictions. And you have no space to look for these contradictions without just taking up gameplay space. Your notes are taking up all your alternate reality room. Instead, you have this carbon copy of reality, which is understandable from a Sudoku player and a Sudoku standpoint, but is not particularly useful when it comes to solving one-up, as this puzzle demonstrates. So what we have is a big void area over here. And we have some rare triplets. The 1, 2, 3s, those aren't going to do anything. We need the rare ones. So this 1, 3, 5 is the rarest. And it crosses a 1, 2, 5. So this is our target square. We want to assume one thing or another here. We're going to assume a 1. We're going to do that in our pencil marks here in a second. And we'll see if a contradiction arises. In logical terms, this is a reductio ad absurdum proof. And you assume something to be true. If it generates a contradiction or an absurdity, it's not true. And if it doesn't, then it's presumed true until something else happens. So our assumption is here, and we're going to see if it's absurd or not. Let's see what that 1 does for us. First in the column, needs a 2 or a 5. That has to be the 2. And we're keeping it in pencil marks. The pencil marks are a window to an alternate reality, if they're not taken up with notes, that is. This has to be a 5, because we can't have a 5 in this. So this is what we know, row and column, from the assumption. And let's just see what happens. We're particularly interested in things like this 2 that cover back into this area, far-ranging things. Like here, this square also has to be a 2. So now we have 2, those 2's knocked off, and this 2 forces another 2 there. That's 3 2's knocked off. This is a prime spot for us to have a contradiction. Just one more 2. So, what does this get us? Let's look at column 6. This can be a 1 or a 3, and I am going to pencil mark these, although we shouldn't need that, just so we can see. Those both have to be 1 3s, because there's nothing else left for them. Can't be a 2. Can't be a 2, right? And that leaves us a 2 5 in this column. Well, you can't put a 5 here, so this must be the 2. And that's it. We proved our absurdity. Here is a column on column 7, a segment, where you cannot have a 2 here, 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 or here. No 2s. So that violates all norms and conventions. We're going to write to Geneva and the rest of it. Move forward. This must be a 5. And we're going to delete pencil marks. And you're like, well, why? Because pencil marks are only used for this proof. And they'll be in a way should we need another proof later. Because all we've done is presume we're on the right path. There could still be other contradictions. They could still mess us up. So, what do we know? We know this has to be a 3, and this has to be a 1. We know this has to be a 2. This has to be a 3, and this has to be a 1. Over here, we know this has to be a 5, and this has to be a 2. 1 and 2 here, so that's a 3. That's a 1. We're left with 2 up here, which means this must be a 3. This must be the 2. This must be the 1. This must be the 3. This must be the 2. Must be the 1. Must be the 3. And the 1. And that's a 2. And that's our 3. That's a 1. That's a 2. That's a 1. That's a 2. That's a 1. So this has to be a 3, because this 3 looks all the way down. This has to be a 5. This has to be a 2. This has to be a 1. This has to be a 5. This has to be a 2, 3, 2, and 5. And that is how you solve 1UP 809 using no notes normally, or in the Sudoku fashion, but reserving the pencil notes for a reductio ad absurdum proof without messing up your whole puzzle. I hope this technique is useful for some of you, and let me know what you think and what I could be doing better in recording these. Thanks, and have a good day.